All right. We would like to say welcome to the Gracious Hope live podcast. We are so glad to be here today with you. And our podcast today will be looking at a new educational system, may I say, in Liberia. And we will be looking at the Harvest Intercontinental American University today. And our featured guest is Bishop Dr. Darlingston G. Johnson. He will be here shortly. And for all of you who are joining us right now, please share this video with your friends, your families, and your loved ones so they can be a part of this podcast today. And as we wait for our guests, who will be backstage pretty soon, we would like to ask you to please participate in every way. Participate. You can opine, share your thoughts, and so that it can be more interactive. That is, the podcast can be more interactive. So we'd like to say welcome once again, and we will be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Okay, Saturday, the weekend is here for every one of us to once again talk about faith, culture, and the progress of our country, Liberia. My name is Pastor Alexander Red, and we will be talking a whole lot regarding development in our country today. You know, when we talk about development, most people think about the political arena of things, but there are other developments going on when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to building human capacity, and many other things going on in our country that the media do not talk about. And so this podcast is platformed in a way to promote and preserve our Christian heritage, looking at the common good of every one of us as Liberians, those living in the diaspora that is abroad, and also those living on the ground in Liberia. But I'm so fascinated by the fact that this new university, a college and a university, opened in Liberia, headed by the Chancellor, Bishop Dr. Darlingston Johnson. And he has a staff that have been working so diligently to have this new university, on a good footing. And so they inducted the board of trustees last week. Yeah, it was a very great event that I believe that a lot of people attended, and we'll be sharing moments that we witnessed at that gathering. And it is a very big task for Bishop Johnson to grapple with both the university activity as well as his church, where he's a senior pastor at the Harvest Intercontinental Church Unlimited in Maryland. That is in Orkney, Maryland, as a senior pastor. But he travels a lot too. He has other churches around the world, and Harvest has a it is an organization with over 450 churches around the world. So that is a humongous a task for him. However, we must commend most of the staff who work with him, those who have volunteered, and those who, in fact, donate their time, their resources, their energy. Like last weekend, there was a fundraiser, pledges, and it was a successful event. And so we will be talking about those things also, and also share his vision for Liberian students, whether you're young or you're old. It depends on what you would like to learn. Would you still like to learn how to be a businessman? Would you like to develop your skills, or build the skills that will enable you to be self-sufficient or self-independent? And that is what our country, Liberia, needs right now. We need our young people to be educated, but the kind of education that will prepare them to be business owners. That is, those students who will graduate will be able to have both the knowledge and the capacity and the environment to work for themselves, and know how to build a capacity to save and take care of their family. And so it is a faith-based university that is unfolding in our country. And so we just want to talk about all of the challenges, the activities ahead, and just get a feel and understanding of what it means to have such a university in a country war torn. Although we have a lot of universities in our country, colleges, none of that. But this one is very special, very unique, and we will be talking about its uniqueness today. Therefore, without much ado, I would like to bring on Dr. Darlingston Johnson. He is the Chancellor. He's also the bishop, presiding bishop of Harvest Intercontinental Church Unlimited. And so we'd like to welcome you once again. And please don't forget to share this video with your friends, your families, and your loved ones so they can be a part of our podcast today. Welcome, Bishop Johnson, to the Gracious Hope podcast. Glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Red. I apologize that I have to do this on my cell phone. I tried with the computer. We're having some problems. Okay.
Yes, yes. And I understand the technicality of it. I ran into trouble doing that myself. So it took me a little bit of time to get things together here as it is. But we are so happy to see you. Recently, you traveled to our homeland, Liberia, and what we see you doing is very exciting. And we must commend you, not just you, but your staff, those in Liberia and those who are here, even around the world, where you visit other churches, some of Ghana, some other African countries, Cameroon, and so forth, and Brazil. And so we saw you last week in Liberia at an event, and that event was for the Harvest Intercontinental American University, where you inducted into office the board of trustees. And I saw some prominent people who were part of that. Can you please give our audience a synopsis of what was that whole trustee set up for?
Yeah, well, thank you again. I appreciate the interest you continue to show in our work. This must be the third or fourth time I've been on your program. And so I want to thank you for that. Yeah, we went into Ghana first and spent 5 days in Ghana for our strategic leadership uh, planning retreat, where we brought together about 50 of our key leaders just to look at Harvest Intercontinental Ministries Unlimited as a whole. I liken it to uh, having a physical every year. You go in and the doctor check you out, and hopefully there's nothing wrong, but if there's something wrong, he can identify it early enough so you can fix it. So we spent 5 days in Ghana doing just that, looking at harvest and how do we need to address some of the issues and make the adjustments so we can be more effective in fulfilling our vision. And one of the things that has become more and more clear to us is that if we're serious about a world where no one lives or dies without Christ, which is our vision, we've got to invest in education. We have focused largely on church planting, and we'll continue to do that. But we realize, in essence, the way you change a nation is also through education. If you can raise the next generation of leaders, give them the best possible education you can, but build that on a solid foundation of faith in God and the wisdom of the Bible, and not only prepare people academically, but prepare them in terms of their character, with equip them with integrity. So be the leaders. You have now a double-edged sword. You have excellence in terms of the intellect, but then you have the heart that is based on a solid foundation of faith in God and integrity. That's what we're endeavoring to do. So our education mission now
Yes.
is a world where no one lives or dies without access to quality education. In fact, we've modified that a little bit. Now we're saying without access to exceptional quality education. One of the things that I've asked myself, what would I be today? Would I be doing what I'm doing today if I had not been blessed by the grace of God to have access to quality education? Somebody made that possible for me. In my case, it was a result of a scholarship that I received to go to what was one of the best schools in Liberia. Uh, and then to get a scholarship to go to Oral Roberts University. That gave me the academic training and preparation I needed to help sharpen the axe and equip me for what I'm doing. And I asked myself, what if? What if that opportunity hadn't come to me? What if I didn't have the opportunity to go to a good school? Would I be who I am today, or would I be getting older and going to my grave without never fully making my maximum contribution to this world? Well, obviously for me, that touches at the level of my heart. And that is what's motivating me right now as we seek to provide access to quality education to as many young people as possible. We're beginning in Liberia. We've started our initiative there at the university level, but we're also engaged in education at the elementary and high school levels. We have schools that are already operating, but our commitment now is to invest more into those schools to make sure that at all levels, we're able to provide quality academic education to as many students as possible. At the university level, which is what you are referring to, we actually opened just 3 months ago. And we have been working with certain individuals that have been serving as a board, but we had not formally inducted them. And so I went into Liberia after our Ghana retreat to formally induct the board, who consists of distinguished men and women who have embraced this vision, who understand how important it is to provide the kind of exceptional quality education and to give access to as many students as possible. They've embraced this vision, made it their own, and through this partnership, the vision is coming to pass. And I'm excited about it. There's still many challenges, but we've seen God make it possible, and we're just excited about the future.
Yes, yes, that excitement is what we are talking about. And you mentioned a whole lot about the quality of academic excellence. When we're talking about quality and excellence academically, you are a member of the clergy, you lead a church, and Liberia is your home. And you have churches there already. Now, if you talk about quality, let's look at what makes it so special, or what makes Harvest, besides the academic aspect of it, what else can you let our audience know that Harvest is going to be very distinctive in its curriculum and everything else?
Well, again, a similar question was asked me in Liberia, and I said, listen, I don't know what the other folks are doing. I know what we're going to do. And this is what we're going to do. We are literally going to commit ourselves to delivering excellent quality education. We don't simply want to be a university that exists for the purpose of making money. That is not our motivation at all. So one of the reasons we call our school Harvest Intercontinental American University is because we want to hold ourselves accountable to that standard of excellence. And we're going to approach this by always measuring our accomplishments against our objectives and continually looking for ways to do better. We're not going to accept mediocrity. So even as I began by saying this is what we did with Harvest, the ministry, we're going to be looking closely at what we're delivering to make sure that we're providing a combination of things that contribute to excellence in education. So we call ourselves American University as a way of challenging ourselves to have a standard that we're going to pursue. And our standard is, listen, if we can deliver quality education as good as you would expect from an accredited university in the United States, then we're not reaching our goal. And so we're going to continually be measuring ourselves by what you would expect from an accredited university in the US and making sure that we meet, but even exceed that goal. And we also understand that you cannot achieve excellence unless you pay attention to details. It's the small things that make the difference. And so we're going to pay attention to details. For instance, one of the things that we stress at our university is, listen, the environment must be clean. I think I may have said this before. I'm not sure whether it was on your show or not. But that is something that we're going to continue to stress. We want to pay attention to details because it's through the details that we achieve excellence. We have the opportunity through the e-learning, and this is where I think, I'm sure other universities will get on board if they're not already doing it. Don't know whether we're the only one doing this or not in Liberia, but we're certainly going to take advantage of the e-learning facilities that are now available through the internet to be able to access information and the expertise of professors here in the U.S. and other places who can teach in our schools without necessarily having to be on the ground in Liberia. So we already have several professors that live here, many and several of them. One of the professors is Dr. Trevor Grizzle, who's going to be working with our Masters of Theology program. He was my professor all the way back there in 1982, 1983, 1984 at Oral Roberts University. He taught me New Testament and New Testament Greek. Well, he knows I've spoken with him about the vision, and he said, listen, count on me. I'm prepared to provide my services free of charge pro bono. And so here's a professor who I know taught me, who now is available to be teaching in our master's program. Our French course right now is being offered by Dr. Kona Nippe, who has a master's degree in French, has a doctorate in education, who is well accomplished. And here she is in the U.S. She lives in Baltimore, but she's the one right now teaching our students French. Thank God for the marvelous thing we call the internet. And so we're committed to investing in the infrastructure we need to make sure that this type of quality education can be delivered excellently through the e-learning facilities. We have entered into an agreement with Spectrum that operates in Liberia, and they're helping to make sure that we have the kind of infrastructure to be able to deliver consistently via the internet, the kind of education we want. So we're going to have a combination of teachers and professors who reside in Liberia, plus have access to teachers wherever they are. Because through the internet, you can be anywhere in the world and you can participate in this. So that is certainly going to be one of the main things. Another distinctive that we are focusing on is this commitment to entrepreneurship. Dr. Red, we got many universities and colleges, and they're graduating. I don't know what the number is, but thousands and tens of thousands of students, I'm sure, every year. But where are the jobs? Okay, and so these students graduate, and they're absolutely dependent upon somebody hiring them. And you know that we don't have enough jobs to go around. And then even the jobs that are available are often dependent upon who you know or who know you. And so we don't want our students to graduate and only be dependent upon the mercy and graces of somebody who might give them a job. We want them to be qualified to apply for the best jobs and qualified to be hired for those jobs. But in addition, we want to infuse in them and teach them how to think entrepreneurially so that they're prepared to either work with an existing company or business or start their own. And they can become the business creators, and they can be the ones who not only through their business initiatives be able to adequately take care of themselves and their families, but actually they become the ones who are hiring and providing employment for some of the other students that are graduating from some other universities that don't have a job. So again, it doesn't matter what discipline you choose. One thing that is going to be common throughout our education curricula will be this emphasis on entrepreneurship, teaching and training our young people to think as entrepreneurs. That is so critical. That certainly, I believe, may set us apart from some of what is happening currently in Liberia. So just again, I think that gives you a sense. Our commitment to excellence, which means we're going to pay attention to the small things. Our commitment to the entrepreneurial education that we want to infuse. And of course, like I said earlier, we are solidly Christian. We believe that you can educate the mind, but you must transform the heart. And many of the challenges we're having in Liberia are not due simply to the fact that we don't have educated people. We have many educated people in some top positions. The problem is the heart. And so instead of serving the people, they see their positions as an opportunity to enrich themselves. Hence, we have this corruption that permeates our culture at every level. Well, our goal is to produce a different kind of leader for Liberia and for the nations, who has the academic qualification, but who has a transformed heart and who is committed to integrity. One of the young men that I'm associated with said something to me. When I was in Liberia, I'm helping to sponsor him. He's at another school. He's not at Harvest because he started a few years ago. But he was saying that some of the challenges he's facing is teachers demanding that they be paid, in order to get a passing grade. And he refuses to do that. He said, "I'd rather fail." I forgot how he did it, but I'd rather fail doing what's right than pass doing what's wrong. He had a better way to say it, but that was the point he was making. Before he would rather get an F grade than bribe someone for a grade he didn't deserve. And of course, he's going to pay a price for that, but he's willing to pay that price. I mean, that's the kind of leader we want to produce for the nations. I keep saying the nations because our system is not designed only for Liberia. I mean, obviously, we start in Liberia, we have a physical facility there. But if we truly invest in the virtual education piece, then we can educate students in Sierra Leone, in Ghana, in Nigeria, even in the U.S. Because again, through the internet, we can have students all over the world. So again, our goal is not just Liberia, but thank God we've begun in Liberia and we have a physical presence in Liberia. In many of these nations, we will not have a physical presence, but we'll have a virtual presence.
Well, that is marvelous. That is marvelous, and I appreciate you explaining the distinctives of why we believe that the university is going to be hope is going to bring hope to a lot of students who, yes, they go to school, but to learn another element of that education, which is the practical aspect of knowing how to fend for themselves and how to have a family that is integrated, and how to serve in leadership. And so it is something I believe that the Liberian people will appreciate a whole lot. Now, we have a political environment that has been so controversial in every way, and we see leaders graduate from universities or colleges there, but the system is still the same. Why do you think it is so necessary at this time to have a university or a college that will focus mainly on integrity and building character and family life?
Well, it's not going to focus mainly on that. We're going to have just as much of an emphasis on the academic qualifications. We're not going to compromise on that because we need both. We need the best education that we can deliver in terms of knowledge and skills, etc. But as I indicated earlier, it's just not adequate. Someone said some time ago, and I never forgot, he said, if you have a rogue or a thief and you educate him, what you have now is an educated thief. So you have actually empowered him to do even more damage and get away with it. So taking people who fundamentally are wrong in their hearts, whose motive is to exploit and to use the system for their own advantage at the expense of the people that they're supposed to be serving, is really empowering people to continue to do damage and harm. And so it's so critical that we deal with the heart issue because that's the foundation. It's almost like you're building a house. If the foundation of the house is not built well, that house is not going to be able to stand. It's going to collapse under pressure. And so it's so important that we make sure the foundation is right. When people are motivated for the right reasons and then trained and equipped, that is where you find true leaders, and that is where transformation takes place that works for the benefit of everyone. If the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And so nobody who doesn't have a fundamental reverence for God, and by fear of God, it's not, oh, I'm afraid. It's a reverence for God that causes you to do right. And so when you're faced with that situation where somebody's offering you so much money in order for you to compromise or render a decision in their favor that will be unjust and unfair, because of the fear of God, you would do what's right. I remember my wife. My wife worked briefly for the Ministry of Education between 87 and 90. And, folks would come to her and they would always come bringing something with them, the goat or the sheep or a little cold water. And they
Mm-hmm.
were always very shocked when she would refuse to accept that, because they hadn't seen that. It was so rare that to come into an office and assume that the person would do what's right without you giving them something, it was so foreign that people automatically felt, if I come here and I want this person to do me right and I'm going to have to give them something. And so they were shocked that she, because of the heart, again, her heart had been transformed. She was not in it only serving the people or serving the government. She knew she was serving God. And she would have to give account to him. And that was who she was concerned about. Would she be pleasing to him? And so as a result, she made decisions that were based upon integrity, that was consistent with the mind and the will of God as revealed in the scriptures. Now, you don't have to be a Christian to have those kinds of values. But certainly if we teach these values, and especially to those who are Christians, they have this empowerment that comes from the Spirit of God, if they're willing to be able to execute. And man, Liberia would be another nation. So, we're so rich, not only Liberia, but Africa. We're rich in resources that we can.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people I talk to say the problem is leadership. And when they say the problem is leadership, they're talking about two things: lack of vision, and of course, the heart issue, where people are not in it for the benefit of the people they serve, but for their own selves.
Yes, and that is something that we have been grappling with decades now. And hopefully, we will see a change through the new generation or the younger generation or the younger generation. And I recall your last press conference you had when you were in Liberia. Um, you said that your school is pretty much going to be not just academic excellence, but also to make sure that your staff live up to what is acceptable as a standard. And the good thing is that none of them complain; they get paid on time.
Yeah, great for us. We want to continue that tradition. Always making sure that they're taken care of. Yeah, you're right. We're not going to tolerate that. That is not going to be tolerated, where teachers are requiring students to pay them for grades. Man, again, I'm going to refer to this young man who really shared some things with me that just convinced me even more that we've got to do this. Because he was talking about how this thing permeates society. He talked about even in the elementary school, teachers are asking elementary students to give them money for grades. And as he was talking, I said, wow, these young people are being trained from the time they're young in elementary school. It's being put into them. It's being ingrained into them that corruption is normal, is natural. And when they get their jobs and they put their positions, they have learned from their teachers that this is how you do it. This is how you get ahead. I mean, it's being taught, ingrained in our children in elementary school. My goodness, what is the future going to be like when you have trained your students, your young people, to be corrupt by the example you demonstrate as a teacher? I pray that Harvest Intercontinental American University is not the only one that sees this problem and will attack it, because it's huge. And yes. My sense is that, we should be attacking it at all levels. Don't wait until they get in the university. We need to really be starting at the elementary school level and ingrain character and integrity, honesty, and patriotism in our children. And man, the teachers have to be an example of this. So yeah, there will be no tolerance for that kind of attitude or practice at Harvest. Not anything I'm associated with.
Yes, and that's good to set a stage that way, because it will also uplift the spirit of the students, the parents, and the community and society, because that can reverberate into society to see that, hey, there's something different about this educational system here. We see a mixture of faith and the lessons about culture and social interaction and the academic aspect, and empowering the student to stand up for herself or himself after graduation. So that is a very beautiful thing. Now, let's talk a little bit about last week's event. There was a fundraiser, and also there were some members, I believe, that were introduced as trustees. Let me see here. There's a posting that I saw here on from Charlene Bronskin's Facebook page, and I just want to bring down the screen here. Hold on, let me just make it okay. Let's see here. Okay, so you had this was it induction of these board of trustee members?
Yes, just before I say that, before I talk to the board, I just want to just give an example of what's already happening. We've been in this is in 3 months, and how the students already, it's just beautiful to see how these students, because we have presented this vision of excellence and integrity, et cetera, they have taken ownership of the school. It's their school. And one of the things you will see them doing, they personally will be making sure that the environment remains clean. And even at this particular induction ceremony, when we had a fundraising, some of our students who themselves need money also, without being asked, decided that they will make a donation, they will make a contribution to the school. They just bless my heart. Something is just different. And those who have come to the school have testified as guests. They've come and just watched. They said there's something different about this institution. And it just excites me, and it's only going to get better and better. Concerning the board, yes, we have an international board of trustees, and we'll also have a national board of trustees that is going to be overseeing the work there with the Harvard Intercontinental American University on the ground. And on this past was it Sunday afternoon, we inducted the members of the board, distinguished people in Liberian society, who many of whom are already on different boards and are already giving. But as I said earlier, they were really captivated by the vision of giving access. They know the value of education, and I believe also they know us and have seen our track record and believe in our integrity. And that's important. Again, if they did not believe in our integrity, they would not be willing to attach their names to this project. So again, that's one of the reasons why integrity is so important, because many times it opens doors for you that wouldn't open otherwise. But these are individuals who we asked and willingly accepted to be on the board. You already mentioned Councillor Charlene Brumskin. Honorable Benani Ure is one of those members. Benani and I grew up together, we're friends, but he embraced this opportunity to serve and help us fulfill this vision. We call him trustee. Honorable T. Nelson Williams is also on the board. Dr. Jonathan Taylor is the chairperson for the national board. Bishop Wallo Bele is on the board. Trustee Walker Richards is on the board. Trustee Kamina Tolba Abdallah is also on the board. I hope I haven't missed anybody, but those individuals are prominent members of our society, serving in different capacities. But they have agreed to come on board and help us transform this vision into reality. And we're just blessed because, a work like this cannot be done by one person. It's so important that you have a strong team. In the book, Good to Great, the author says that one of the first things you need to do is make sure you got the right people on the bus. Okay?
Yes.
You need to have the right people on the bus. And that's what we're trying to do, get the right people on the bus so that we can get to where we want to go. And this group of people, I'm so proud of them and so grateful. I'm honored that they accepted our invitation, and I'm humbled that they're willing to work with us and invest time and resources into making this vision a reality. They see the future, they see what's possible, and they want to be a part of
Great.
that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
And for those who are listening to you for the first time, hearing about Harvest, and if they would like to be part of the process, it could be a student, it could be somebody who would like to donate. I know donate. I think it is donate.hiauniversity.org, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, you're better than I'm sure you checked it out, and I'm glad you did. I suspect you're accurate.
Yes.
I suspect so.
Yes.
It could be that for me because you know it better than I do. Could you repeat that address, please? Donate. Donate.
It is yes, it is donate.hiauniversity.org. It is on the screen
Okay.
down. It is down on the screen.
Oh, yeah, thank you. If you all can look down on the screen, I didn't memorize that, so I don't want to mess it up. But if you would look at that, that's one way you can donate. If you're in Liberia and especially if you're in the Monrovia area and its environs, please go to our campus on Chukba. I mean, you will have people there. You can meet the president of our university, Professor Mamawa Freeman Moore. You can meet some of our staff, and you can, have an opportunity to just see what we're doing. We're not done yet, but the part that has already been completed, please go visit, and you certainly can talk to our president or the staff there and get more particular information concerning your child, your student that you would like to enroll. They will be able to give you the details in terms of the academic year and the requirements in terms of tuition, those kinds of things. Obviously, to deliver quality education is not cheap. We can't say we want to deliver excellent quality education and think that it's not going to take money. Just having the infrastructure to do that, the internet, the cost of utilities, I mean, paying your professors, All of that is a huge cost. So there are costs associated with the university. It's not free, but we want to make it as accessible as possible. And this is one of the reasons why we're asking and soliciting um, scholarships. And we're saying to those who are watching, if you desire to make a difference in the lives of these young people, you want to help be a part of this vision of delivering and giving access to quality, exceptional quality education to every Liberian student who can um, attend or participate, or who wants to participate in the kind of education we're offering, you can do that. There are different ways by which you can contribute. If you wanted to take a full scholarship to help supplement the cost of the education, there are options. $1,200 a year, which is about $100 a month, can help support, help us take care of one student. And if you're able to do even more, that's even better. The more we're able to get in scholarships, the more we can subsidize the education of the students. And those who don't have the resources personally, we can help facilitate their education by that means. So I hope there will be many people who will have an interest and, and will either contribute directly using the website information that you have made available. Or again, if you're in Liberia, please, by all means, go by the universities in Chukba. Liberia, we don't have addresses, so I'll be able to tell you the exact address, but just go in Chukba and ask the people where I do university at, and they will, and you'll be able to see it, because right there.
The good thing is that Chuba is where I was born, Bishop.
Oh.
I was born in Chuba. Yeah, I'm born in Chuba, where your university is located.
Yeah, some people want the university in Chukba because Chukba is not necessarily one of the best areas in Liberia, in Monrovia. So they question that. But that's why we exist, right? We said to give access. So those young people, who many of them are brilliant, who just don't have the opportunity. I say this, and I mean it from the depths of my heart. There are thousands and tens of thousands of Liberian young people, maybe hundreds of thousands, who are far more gifted than I am. And all they need is the opportunity I had to get a good education.
Yeah.
Okay? But their parents can't afford it. And when you hear the amount, you say, man, relatively speaking, it's so small, but yet it's so huge for so many families that these young people are not able. So, yeah, we're in Chukba there. I don't know if you know Reverend Jeremiah. I'm a young guy, but he also has been very supportive of this vision. He's based where is he? Where is Boston, Massachusetts? He's in
Massachusetts. Yeah.
Also, he shared the story that he also grew up in Chukba. And so when he heard what we're doing, that just made him even more committed to doing what he can do. So all of you Chukwa folks who God has blessed, you Old Road folks, you grew up on Old Road and you knew maybe growing up it was difficult for you. If you're not one of those who were blessed with wealthy parents, here's an opportunity that you can give back to your community. One of the things we've already done, we provided water. We have a borehole that we put in the churches, in the school's yard for our school, but we also made it available to the residents there in Chukba so they can actually come and get water that we're already supplying. We want to make a difference, not just in the university, but I look across the university and I see some of the homes people are living in. And one of the things we'd like to do is to fix some of those places, give them a new roof, paint, just help the community so that the people in the community themselves benefit directly, whether they go to the school or not, from our presence. That's part of our Christian commitment. We also have a small clinic in the area. Again, just trying to do our best with the resources we have. But the more resources we have, the more we can do. So please join us and let's participate together in one of the most important things you might have an opportunity to be a part of in your lifetime. You can leave a legacy that will outlast your life. If Jesus tarries, that school 100 years from now will still be making a difference. 200. And so you can help lay the foundation that is so solid that long after you've gone to heaven, the work you did while on earth continues to.
And that website is www.hiauniversity.org. University.org. And to donate, it is donate.hiauniversity.org. And so you can help in any way. Like the bishop said, you can subsidize tuition fees for a student or sponsor a student that will later on benefit from what they offer right now. If you're just joining us, this is the Gracious Hope Live Podcast. My name is Pastor Red, and we are so excited to be here to be talking about Harvest Intercontinental American University and college opening in Liberia. And for all of you in Liberia listening right now, it's an opportunity for you to be part of it and share the word with your friends, your families, and your loved ones. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, and we are back here with our special guest, the presiding bishop of the Harvest Intercontinental Church Unlimited Ministries, and Bishop Darlingston Johnson, and he's also the chancellor of this new college and university in our country, Liberia. His vision is to expand in other countries, and as we can see, he has a lot of other churches that he's presiding over as the bishop. It's a lot of work. It takes dedication and a lot of training and understanding leadership. We know Dr. Johnson has been training a lot of pastors and even bishops today. And so he has been serving the Lord for a very long time. Is that 40 years now, Bishop?
Well, I've been serving the Lord from the time I was a child, so that's more than
okay. Okay.
ordained minister. I was ordained in 1984. And then, of course, I began to serve full-time in 1987. So I've been in full-time ministry since 1987, ordained in 1984.
Yes, that has been a very long way, long way. And along the way, you have the support arms of those who want to make your vision a reality all along. Your wife, Sister Grace, and the staff members and those that you work with all along. I know along the way there are challenges, and God has given you the grace and the unction of the Holy Spirit to overcome those obstacles. However, I saw a posting in which someone said, we need to pray for our pastors or our bishops. And then you made a comment there, yes, we need it. And that is a reality. We all need prayer. We need to pray for our pastors and our bishops and those who are on the front line and training or making disciples of Christ. And so it is delightful to have you here on our platform. And this platform, if you're listening your first time, is all about promoting and preserving the Liberian Christian heritage. And of course, it's all about faith, culture, and growth of our country. And we are talking about this college or university in our country, homeland. And so if you have the time, you can stop by in Chuba. The location is there. And just meet with the staff and ask any questions that you may want to, and also donate. As you know, it is a legacy that you will be leaving for the next generation, because anything that you contribute now will help someone tomorrow. And we all want for our country to be a better country like any other country that we have seen. but it takes the effort of each of us to do so. Bishop Johnson, I know you travel a lot and you visit other churches around the world. Um, if a young leader or emerging leader listening to you right now, and they want to take your footstep or get in the path of where you are, what will you encourage them to do?
Again, Dr. Red, thank you. Let me just say one or two things that I just don't want to forget. Two other members of the board of trustees are Honorable Alan Brown and Dr. Augusta Conne, who was a professor at the University of Liberia, who now works in the office of the president of Liberia. They also are part of the board. I also want to say that we have the undergraduate program that has started, but we'll be opening our first master's program. I believe that's scheduled to happen in April. And it's going to be a master's degree in organizational leadership. And we're going to have two tracks: a master's degree in organizational leadership focused on church government and church administration. And then we'll have another track, a master's degree in organizational leadership focused on business and entrepreneurship. So some of the folks that are watching who maybe want to take have their bachelor's and would like to do a master's degree, again, you can visit or contact our university in Liberia if you're there, and get further information. You asked about leadership in general, young people who want to follow my footsteps. Is that what you said?
Yeah. People who are listening to you and they are aspiring to be emerging leaders.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I think all of us have leadership gifts and abilities. I think it's in all of us. We'll be lead in different ways, lead in different fields. But I think fundamentally, every one of us is called to leadership. But leadership is something that I think one may be called to, but still requires development. You need to sharpen the axe. You can try to cut down a tree with a dull axe, or you can take down sharpening it, and it takes less effort. You can do far more if the axe is sharp. So first and foremost, again, I think you got to begin with the heart. Okay, you're fundamentally, as a leader, your heart has to be right. Okay, if you see leadership as an opportunity to rule and to empower yourself at the expense of the people, you want power for the sake of power, you're not qualified. Just that particular attitude disqualifies you for greatness as a leader. So that the first thing you got to do is begin with your heart. Why do you want to be a leader? Are you attracted by what now too often is seen as a way to get rich, a way to get respect, a way to have people honor you? We get all kinds of titles. We're bishops, we're apostles, we're prophets, we find names for the sake of bestowing honor upon ourselves. So we gotta be careful that our motivation for leadership is to serve, the servant leader, the model provided by Jesus himself. So first and foremost, make sure your motivation is right, that you're not going into this as a way of enriching or empowering yourself or trying to be somebody at the expense of people. Let your motive be, you want to be a blessing. You have gifts and you want to use it to serve others, to make their lives better. You want to glorify God in the use of your gifts. Get your heart right. And for me, the way you get your heart right begins with receiving Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And then submitting to him and allowing he who comes into you to actually begin to live and express his life through you. Begin there. And then secondly, equip yourself. I mean, sharpen the axe. Okay. Don't if you're going to be involved in public speaking, if your job as a leader is going to require that, and many times leadership does require that, please, invest in your ability to communicate. Communication is so critical. People follow good communicators in general, if those communicators also have good character. So I would encourage you, okay, to invest in the ability to communicate. That is probably one of the most valuable skills that you can acquire, is how to express yourself, how to express thoughts clearly and in a way that is persuasive, that people can listen to, understand, and be able to take action upon. So invest in your communication skills. And then depending upon whatever your specialization is going to be, where are you going to be providing this leadership? If it's in the church, as I am, if it's through what similar to what I do, then you got to invest in equipping yourself biblically. I mean, you need to invest in a good education. If you are blessed to have access to a good uh, Bible school or a seminary where you can sharpen yourself in terms of knowledge of the word and the skills that go with leadership in the church, hermeneutics, biblical interpretation, homiletics, preaching, church administration. I mean, those are things that I would recommend. They're not absolutely required. I mean, there are some people who are naturally gifted and somehow they can do this thing without being necessarily formally trained. They kind of learn on the job. But I think when you have the opportunity to go to school and focus for 2, 3, 4 years just developing these skills, acquiring knowledge, I would recommend you do that very, 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 very strongly. Uh, so that's critical. And then, some people ask me, Bishop, what is your secret to success? Well, I believe if I have a secret, first of all, I'm trusting God. I literally don't put my trust in myself. Okay, I don't see myself as the worst thing I could ever do. The thing I would run away from is to ask me to provide leadership in something that God is not going to be involved with, because I will utterly fail. So my dependence upon God, my trust in God is so absolutely critical. I mean, without that trust in God, I wouldn't dare to do some of the things I've dared to do. I wouldn't dare to try to start a university if I didn't believe God would make it happen. If I were looking at myself, my own resources, I would not dare to. So that total dependence upon God, really believing that God is with you, God is leading you, and God is going to work, where you can trust him. Otherwise, the stress alone, will kill you. Okay. But being able to look at the challenges and say, what, I'm going to cast this care upon the Lord. I know he has already provided for this in Christ Jesus, and I'm going to be whole out. He's going to work it out. And the part I'm supposed to play, he's going to show me, but there are going to be some things that he's going to do, and I would just marvel at. That faith in God is critical. The just shall live by faith. Okay. So please get to know God and get to the place where you're depending upon him. Don't put confidence in yourself. Put your confidence in the Lord. Trust him to the best of your ability. Discern what you believe he wants you to do, and then trust him completely. You do your part as he leads you, but trust him. Absolutely necessary. And then, so if you ask me for a secret, well, I would start there. Okay, I've committed myself not to do my will, but to God's will. I truly have. What I want is God's will. And then I'm trusting him every day for the results. And then secondly, in terms of dealing with people, I mean, it's very clear. Jesus said, love people. Love people. The great commandment is to love God. The second one is to love people. If you want to succeed, you need people. God has designed this system where we can't do big things, great things by ourselves. If you're going to do anything great, you got to have people. If you really want people, then here is the key. God said, love them. Love them as you love yourself. Love them as I have loved you. When people know that you genuinely love them and you're committed to their interests, you're not just using them, for yourself, there's just something about that makes them want to work with you. Okay. And as a result, you develop a team. And that team then allows you to accomplish far more than you could accomplish by yourself. You mentioned that I visit these countries, and I do. But I always give credit to the people who are there. I don't try to take the credit, because I realize without those people who are in Liberia, who are in Ghana, or here in Cameroon, or in the US, this network of pastors who are laboring in their particular location, how does Intercontinental American University would not have the ability to claim the kind of influence it has? So I'm always mindful that we are a team, and that this ministry is a result of all of us working together and contributing. And I take the time to give them credit, okay, to recognize their work, affirm them, encourage them. And what my commitment is to helping them succeed. The wonderful thing is when they succeed, we all succeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my mindset. So in short, those are just three things that come to mind, and I hope it will help someone.
Yeah, and that is a very great mindset, I must say. Okay, so finally here, Harvest Intercontinental Church, or other churches, and looking at the university, I know they interact somehow do you have any other plans or any activities upcoming for the rest of the year when it comes to the university and the church interacting?
Well, again, of course, the university will continue to grow. We want to see more students. Whenever you start something, at first people got to get to know you. So I thank you for this platform, because the more people hear about what we're doing, I believe more people will say, "Wow, that's a gold mine in my backyard. I'm trying to find a gold mine somewhere else. When there's a gold mine in my backyard, I need to take advantage of that." So we're going to continue to grow. The board in Liberia, we plan whatever activities they have for this year in Liberia. So that piece, they will handle in terms of activities. I just said that the master's program will actually be starting in April. So the next big thing really would be the beginning of our master's program in organizational leadership. So those who want to get involved and be a part of that, you still have time. Again, just contact our president there in Chukba and get more details. So that is in place. As far as the Intercontinental Ministries, I have a number of trips. I'm going to be traveling quite a bit. I'm going to be going to Brazil, Senegal, Zambia, Tanzania. So I got a number of trips that I'm going to be making. And everywhere we go, we have these conferences where we're teaching and training workers and reminding people of the vision, and then trying to solve some of the problems that are always there. You imagine everywhere you go, there are problems, challenges that you got to deal with. And hopefully my presence can help us find some better solutions to some of the challenges. One of the things that we said to our folks in Ghana, and we're going to be developing and working on it more and more, is, listen, we got to do better. We got to increase the rate by which we're winning souls. Okay, I mean, if the vision is a world where no one lives or dies without Christ, there are billions of people who don't know Christ. We cannot be satisfied with winning a few hundred people a year, even one or 2,000 a year. We got to be talking big numbers, right? And so we really got to look at our current strategy and assess whether it is the best strategy for now. It may have worked well 20 years ago, but it may not be producing the kind of results. So one of the things we did say, listen, we probably have to shift from our current strategy, because the past strategy depended upon local churches planting local churches. That has slowed down significantly. And I'll be honest with you, Dr. Red, the thing I quote unquote fear the most, and in the name of Jesus, it won't happen, is for this work that we have invested so much of our time and our life and our resources into to die after we leave, after we go to heaven, okay, or after we step away from being the presiding bishop, that we don't have the kind of foundation and the kind of systems in place, and the ownership of the vision has not been sufficiently passed on to others, that when we are no longer leading, it dies. But me, that is failure. I mean, I heard this in school: success without a successor is failure. So right now, at this stage in my life, I'm really, really focused in terms of harvest, to make sure that we're bringing together another generation of people who will form the core leadership while we're alive. We don't want, God forbid, for us to go to heaven, then people fighting and all that stuff. We want to make sure that while we're alive, we have empowered those who are younger than us to really take ownership of this vision in a greater ways. And they now have become the core or the backbone of harvest, humanly speaking. God always is the backbone, but humanly speaking, they become the channels and instruments by whom God will work. We'll still be around, we'll still be involved, still be helping, advising, and making our contribution. But we have in place a core of young professionals, younger people who have taken over that. When we exit this world, there's no crisis. Mm-hmm. There's no crisis. And we want to ingrain in that generation that becomes their responsibility to make sure that the generation after them also, have taken ownership of the vision. If you don't do that, the organization dies. And unfortunately, that's what we see happening with many denominations. At one point, they were strong and vibrant, but they did not successfully transfer the vision to another generation while they were alive. And so that next generation kind of just dissipated. And when they left the scene, the churches got older and older and older, and fewer and fewer and fewer as they started to die one after another. And it was not difficult to infuse life into it. So by the grace of God, we're trusting God for wisdom. That is really what we're going to be focused on in the next 2 years, making sure that core is there.
Mhm.
In a sense, working myself out of a job.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
I can sit back and look and see the fruit of our labor and feel secure now. Lord, I can come because it's secure on every front. The education mandate is secure. The evangelistic mandate is secure. The church planting mandate is secure. The financial resources that we need to continue, we have systems in place that will allow those resources to continually be made available for the purpose for which we exist. It's a challenge, but man, this is where faith in God comes in. Christ is in us and he makes us complete.
Yeah. And you celebrated a birthday this year, and I believe 65. Are you planning on at some point to retire and have someone to be a successor?
Yeah, no, I haven't celebrated my birthday this year yet. I mean, by
Oh,
this,
yeah, last year. I think the one that I saw on the website was last year. Was it
yeah,
last year?
I turned 60 this year. I'm going to be turning 67 in September. That's exactly what I'm saying. We got people.
Okay.
You know, we have a council of bishops. There are 6 of us, but most of us are, you know, we're over 50 and beyond. Okay, and so we are having a conversation to make sure that we have a younger generation. And you know, when I say younger, I'm talking about people from about 25 to about 55. You know, that group, you know, that now are going to be taking greater ownership, especially those in their 30s.
Yeah.
Want to really bring them into the forefront. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm never going to retire from ministry as long as God gives me life and health and strength. But I do sense, I mean, there is a transition. You know, at this stage in my life, I think I have learned from my mistakes and hopefully from some successes that I can perhaps make the greatest contribution, focusing more on perhaps developing leaders and not necessarily pastoring the local church. So at some point, I can't tell you exactly when, but hopefully not too long,
Mhm.
you know, we can transition that responsibility to someone else. I'm trusting God for long life, and I'm trusting God for strength. Like Joshua, I hope that I'm still taking, and Caleb, I'm taking mountains and capturing new territory for Christ up until the day I leave. But the joy of I think my ministry will be able to see it being perpetuated when it has been transferred primarily into the hands of others, and I'm more there just playing a support role.
Okay. Well, we'd like to say thank you so much for your time to discuss with us more about your vision, your leadership, and all that you're doing to help your homeland, Liberia, the younger generation, and even those young at heart who would like to take advantage of the master's program in organizational leadership at the university. And those who are listening right now would like to say thank you so much for listening. Is there any final word before
Well,
we depart?
I want to say thank you to you personally. You have just consistently shown interest in what we're doing and helping us get the word out. Thank you, and may the Lord bless you and your ministry and cause you to experience greater success than you've ever experienced. In Jesus' name. Let me,
Amen. I received that. Thank you, Bishop.
let me remind the folks that you can contribute by or get more information. You can go to H Harvest and
It is H. The
I
website is
H
yeah,
I HIA University.org. H
yeah, that's the web page.
HIA University.org. And there's a donate place where you can click on donate and be able to donate financial. But we're also looking for teachers, professors. I mentioned my college professor. If you're retired and you still want to contribute, hey, contact us. All right. I can, you know, my email is Bishop DJ1, Bishop D as in David, J as in Johnson, number 1, at, just to make it easy, send it to Gmail. Okay, Bishop DJ1 at gmail.com. I think everybody can remember Gmail. So Bishop D as in Darlingston, J as in Johnson, the number 1, Bishop DJ1 at Gmail. If you're interested in possibly offering your services, hopefully pro bono as a professor, please let us know. We'll be glad to talk with you and see how that might be possible.
And that email, once again, was bishopdj1@gmail.com. If you're interested to volunteer your time, I'm sure the university and Bishop Johnson will appreciate your expertise to be transferred to our young generation and all those who are eager to learn and do something better for themselves in the future. Okay, so it was a pleasure having you once again, and we'll end up with your press conference you had with Spoon TV. So let me get it on the screen here for you. All right, let's see here. Uh,
I had the opportunity while there to visit two schools that had been established by a Christian pastor. And as I walked onto the grounds of the school, I was, let me just use a word that I think all of us were very, very impressed. Impressed by the standard of excellence I saw there in Tanzania, the facilities, the grounds. But what impressed me most was when I walked into the classrooms of the students in the elementary school. And as I walked in, they had on their uniforms, immaculate facilities. They stood up and they would recite whatever they had learned. And during that experience, the Spirit of God moved in my heart. And over the years, I've come to be able to recognize when it's just me or when it's the Lord. And this is what I heard in my spirit. This is how you change a nation. This is how you change a nation. I realized that God was giving me what had to be part of my assignment, that in addition to churches being planted, which we'll continue to do, if we truly want to change nations, communities, we've got to invest intentionally in the education of children, preparing leaders for our nations and for next generations to come. And so I left Tanzania convinced that part of our calling included an education mandate, that even as we have been diligent over the years with church planting, we need to intentionally begin to establish schools or strengthen the schools that already exist so that children have an opportunity to get quality education. I know, and I don't think I have to convince anybody here that education makes a huge difference in terms of your ability to impact society. Uh, there may be exceptions, but in general, all of those who are truly impacting their society have benefited from a good quality education. Um, I myself was blessed to have received a scholarship when I was just in first grade that allowed me to attend one of the best schools in Liberia for 12 years. That made a huge difference in who I am today. And as I reflect, this is the question I often ask. What if I had not had the opportunity to go to school, not just to go to school, but to get a quality education, both at the elementary and junior high and high school level, and then again to be blessed to be able to attend a good college, university, and get the education I have. If I had not had that opportunity, would I be able to do what I'm doing? What little impact I'm making would I have made it? And I seriously doubt that that would have been the case. And yet I know, and when I say this, I really mean it from the depths of my heart. There are so many young and intelligent, bright young men and women in this country, far more so than I am, who unfortunately will never be able to make the kind of contribution that Liberia needs and that the world needs, simply because, unlike me, they didn't get access to quality education, and so they had to make do with no education or substandard education. And I think that could have been me. And so I moved really from my heart. I tried to put myself in the place and in the shoes of these young people and said, man, what if? And so it is that question that is driving and motivating us to do what we're doing. At Harvest, we have initiated officially what we call the education mandate. And Dr. Konan Nepe, who's actually here with us, is the one heading that mandate for us.
And we have particularly asked the women of Harvest to really champion this education mandate. And by that we mean let's do everything within our power. And the way we say it, a world where no one lives or dies without access to quality education at all levels. So the university here is just one attempt, uh, but there are many things being done at the high school and junior high school level, elementary school, and we want to strengthen what already is because we want quality. And so we're going to be more intentional in making sure that the education we do provide is always quality education. So we will be strengthening the schools that already exist, and we're going to be establishing new schools as the Lord directs and as the Lord provides. But the university here, Harvest Intercontinental American University, was established for that very reason. We want to provide, now we're saying, exceptional quality education to our students. We want our students to be qualified to get the best jobs available, the highest paying jobs. But we all know that there are very limited jobs available. And so there are many students who are graduating from our colleges and universities that have no job, nobody to hire them. They don't know anybody who can talk for them. You still who know you here. I mean, that's not only Liberia, all over the world. If you don't have those connections or contacts, many times you're left out. And so we're saying we should not be satisfied with simply giving an academic education, good quality education, that these students then become frustrated because they haven't gone to school, they still can't get a job. So we want to make sure our students are not only academically qualified to get the best jobs professionally, but that they also have what we call an entrepreneurial mindset. They think not so much of themselves as working for someone, but they begin to think of themselves as employers, job creators, people who are capable of starting businesses that will succeed and that can employ others, people that can start institutions and organizations that can have tremendous impact upon society. And so we've agreed, me and our board and our president and all of the teachers, everybody who's part of this, that one of the things we're committed to is to make sure that our children, all of them, our students, will really, when they do graduate, be very qualified in the field that they chose, but also are entrepreneurs. They can start businesses. They can generate income. They're not dependent upon someone hiring them. So I really believe that's going to be one of the distinctives of this particular university. We're committed to excellence, and we know that excellence only happens when you pay attention to the small things. And unfortunately, many times, those small things are overlooked. And over time, those small things will definitely have a tremendous impact upon the quality of the product and the quality of the service. So we're going to be committed to making sure, for instance, the place is clean. It makes a huge difference when our students come and it's a clean environment. We're making sure the students take ownership for this university. And this is their university. And it's amazing how that is what we're experiencing. Our students already are taking ownership of this university. They're proud of it. And they're the ones committed to making sure it's kept clean. Yesterday we had a fundraiser, and some of our students were present, and they themselves decided that they would contribute. I think we had at least two of them spoke, and out of the legal resources they had, they gave because they see the vision, they understand the sincerity of our heart, they know how this is going to impact them and their brothers and their sisters, and Lord willing, even their children. And even now, they're beginning to think entrepreneurial, and they're actually investing in what they're going to benefit from. That's the spirit of HIOU. We are people who truly are a community and a family. And so we envision this school impacting, tens of thousands of Liberian young people. Now, if you recall, our vision is a world where no one lives or dies without access to quality education. So quality education is great, but you can't access it. Just a few can benefit from it. So we're very intentional in our desire to make it accessible. And I know immediately you think about the cost. Others say you cannot produce something excellent and and the kind of high quality education we're talking about without money. So there is a cost to go into this university. Most of our students here cannot afford it. The cost, the true cost. So when I say the true cost, per student easily right now, the true cost is $2,500 or more. But how many Liberian students that we want to give access to can afford that? And so definitely we're going to have to subsidize the cost of their education here significantly. And that's what we're trying to do. So yesterday we had a fundraiser here, and by the grace of God, Sunday, excuse me, we had a fundraiser here. And by the grace of God, and there were not that many people here, but again, the vision is so compelling. The desire that people have to make a difference in young people's lives is so strong that we were able to generate, in terms of pledges, and we believe these are good pledges, $107,000 in less than an hour. So it tells me that there are a lot of people in this nation who really, really want to see what we're doing succeed. And that is very, very encouraging. So we're going to be continuing to do all we can to generate funds in order to help subsidize the cost of education here, so that we can offer this quality education at a cost that hopefully most of our young people can afford. But in addition, we want to take this education to where the people are. Right as I speak, there are people in Sino, there are people in Bonjama, there are people in Lofa, there are people, children in Grand Chile, all over this country, who cannot come here to go to school. And the internet makes it possible for us to increase tremendously the number of students we can actually impact. I know there will still be challenges for some, but a whole lot of students who would not have been able to come here will be able to access the same quality education that the students who are here physically will receive via the internet. And so we're currently working to make sure we have the technologies in place to allow us to deliver education, quality education, using the e-learning capabilities that now exist because of the internet. And so students can actually have what we call virtual learning experiences. Right now, Dr. Nipe, who's here, lives in Baltimore, and she has a master's degree in French. She's an experienced French teacher. She is the one who's actually teaching our French class. She is in Baltimore. Our students gather in this room. How many days a week? 5 days, and this woman is extremely busy, but she set aside this time 5 days a week. She's teaching her students in this room from Baltimore. And there are many like Dr. Nipe, highly educated, highly professional, very experienced professors, educators who reside in different nations, Liberia, the US being one of them, who are more than willing, once we present them with this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of potentially hundreds of thousands, even millions of young people, they become very excited because they want to do something that really, really will make a difference. We all have a sense of significance. And when you know that you're contributing significantly to the future of a young person or many young people, there are few things more powerful and more motivating than that. And so you have these teachers, professors, many of them have taught for years. Some are retired who are saying, we're prepared to teach some of your courses. So our staff will consist of qualified teachers here. We have some of our teachers right here. But in addition, because of the e-learning facilities that we're establishing, we will also have access to some of the best in other nations. One of the teachers who have already agreed to participate in our Masters of Theology program is Dr. Trevor Grizzle. Well, I met Dr. Trevor Grizzle in 1981 when I was a student at Oral Roberts University, and I was entering my master's program. Dr. Trevor Grizzle taught me New Testament and Greek. He's still part of the staff at Oral Roberts, and he has already offered his services. He said, you don't have to pay me a penny. I want to be a part of something this significant. I want to make a difference. I want to give access to, just like you. And so he's going to be teaching one of our classes in our graduate program as well. So I'm gonna give you time to ask questions. But hey, this school has been established. We just started operating. We're just about 3 months old since we opened. Uh, and so we are very, very excited about what we see. We're not complete. There's still much more work to be done. We tend to add to this structure. But right now, HIAU is open for business and making already a tremendous impact on our students. We've already heard testimonies from more than one person that when they have come here and they have seen our students or interacted with our students, it sensed something different about them. Wow. Now, of course, we are committed to our Christian faith. And just giving people academic education without dealing with character. Somebody said if you get a rogue and you educate him, he becomes an educated rogue. So you just qualify him to do more damage and get away with it. So obviously, everything we do here is going to be on a foundation of faith, our biblical foundation and biblical worldview. And we're going to focus a lot on developing the character of our students. Because we all know at the core of the problem here in Liberia is corruption, lack of integrity. And if we continue to produce the same kind of leaders who maybe are educated here in the head, but their hearts have not been transformed, the problem will not be resolved. So our Christian faith, based upon the Bible, the understanding of who Jesus is and how he makes a difference, is certainly going to be at the foundation, and it's going to permeate what we do. But this is not a religious school. This is a university that will be delivering the highest quality education possible. And we are going to hold ourselves accountable for that. Sometimes people ask, why do you call it American University? I tell you why. It's because we have said, if we're going to operate a university, we need to have a standard by which we're going to measure ourselves. And we said, we're going to measure our success by what you would expect an American US university to be like, those that are accredited and have a high reputation. What would you expect there? We have to be at least as good here, but we certainly want to exceed in many ways. I'll stop there and let the ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So we heard that press conference with Spoon TV, and you can watch the rest of the press conference when you get to the Facebook page of Spoon TV to listen to a lot of other elaborations that the bishop did regarding the university. So it was a pleasure once again for joining us. For all our watchers, listeners, please click that button down, share with your friends, your families, and your loved ones so that they can be a part of this program as well. Until then, we'll be back here next Saturday, the same time at 6 p.m. Thank you, Bishop, for coming. And it was a pleasure once again.
Thank you, Dr. Red. And again, those of you who want to follow us, you can go to YouTube and just type in my name, Darlingston. It's S-T-O-N, Darlingston Johnson. Subscribe. There's a lot of good material there for your spirit and for your soul.
Indeed, it is. I'm one of the subscribers.
All of you, as Dr. Red is recommending.
Yes, I am recommending that you go to his YouTube channel. The ministry is there, and you will listen to some very good teaching. Yes, very good teaching.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, Bishop.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.